Welcome back, folks, for a new tank review, and today we'll take a look at the T54 first prototype, model 1945. This is a Tier 8 premium Russian medium tank. It will cost you 8,750 gold, so it's a little bit more expensive than the Super Pershing, the AMX CDC, or the Panther 88. So is it really worth it? Now, much thanks to Mizutayio for gifting me this tank. He is a regular contributor to the channel. He's a good friend of mine. We worked on the Swiss tanks, and we're currently working on the Swiss planes. So much thanks to him. But after playing with this vehicle, my opinion about this tank shifted a little bit from the original leak video I made about this tank. So originally I said that this tank is a good substitute for the Type 59, available to everybody. But after playing with it, there are a few more flaws with this vehicle. And the biggest one is the non-preferential matchmaking. It will see tier 10s, and coupled with the fact that this vehicle has only 34 rounds in the loadout. It can only carry 34 shells. That's really bad. And with the penetration of 175mm, that's rough. Same goes for the horsepower per ton ratio. So this tank doesn't have the speed to flank and use the gun, the crappy penetration gun, to the fullest. Whereas the T-54 has the same penetration and the same alpha, but better accuracy and better aim time. And it's a lot faster to go flanking, and therefore this tank is pretty successful with this 100mm gun. Whereas for the T54 prototype, it has only 14.46 horsepower per ton ratio, has a slower top speed, slower traverse for the hull, as well as the turret, compared to the T44, where the T44 has 19.76 horsepower per ton ratio, and a lot better top speed and traverse. So therefore, this tank is not that good in terms of flanking and brawling. So that really sucks. The hull armor is the same, and a little bit better than the T54 at tier 9. So 120 at the front, 90 at the sides, and 45 at the rear. So that's pretty decent for a medium tank. Compared to the T54, has 10 more millimeters of side armor to bounce more shots while side scraping. That's good. The turret is not as strong as the T54. It's only 180-ish millimeters, and it's not as well rounded as the hemispherical turret on the T54. So this turret is more like a KV turret. It's okay, but there is the weak spot on the cheeks. So if you hit here, it's likely going to penetrate. So that sucks. Now, other than the shell problem, as well as the horsepower per ton ratio, this tank has a difficulty of bouncing shots, in my opinion. When I'm playing with this vehicle, I found that tanks with 220-ish millimeters of penetration usually go through the frontal plate, whereas if I'm playing the T54, they will bounce. Now, I analyzed this problem, and I believe that the main concern between these two tanks, or what separates these two tanks from bouncing shots with the same armor to not bouncing shots, is the mobility. So what I've found out is that when I'm playing the T54, I usually use the same tactics with the T54 prototype, but with a horsepower per ton ratio and a better top speed, I can vibrate the tank better and wiggle the tank a lot better than the T54 prototype. And what that do is when you're vibrating back and forth or wiggling to side, it throws off shots a lot better and creates the auto bounce zones where your opponents miss your frontal center of mass and hits the auto bounce zone and just bounce off. But with a T54 prototype, it's slower to vibrate, so you cannot bounce as often, and peekabooing with this vehicle is not as effective. So that may be a big problem. And going back to the shells, it can only carry 34 rounds, so half the shells are gold shell because I need the penetration. It doesn't have the speed to go flanking like a T44. So that's kind of counterproductive in my opinion. So I have to carry a lot of gold shells. Same goes for the IS-6. This lack of ammo issue, it's really bad. So as you can see, the IS-6 can only carry 30 rounds, but the alpha is 390, whereas the alpha for the T54 prototype, it's only 250. So that sucks. But the accuracy is okay, 0.38. Aim time is 2.6 seconds. Now they're buffing the aim time and accuracy with the 9.12 patch. So that's good. But they're not buffing the engine power. So this tank is still a little bit slow. So you cannot go flanking. It's basically a tier 8 E50 levels of mobility. The gun is alright in terms of accuracy. Aim time is a little bit long and the penetration is below average. So working with this vehicle is rather difficult, and I would suggest you buying, if you have the money, a Super Pershing first, because like the T54 prototype, the Super Pershing is a heavy medium tank hybrid. But what's good about the Super Pershing is it has 2 slabs of space armor at the front. And even though it has only 101 millimeters on the frontal plate for the hull and turret, it has 2 layers of space armor. So as you can see right here, there is the first layer and the second layer on top. Same goes for the turret. You have a mantlet covering the turret front and another plate of space armor covering the mantlet. And what these plates do is adding more bouncy zones, so the shell will travel to the first plate, change course, and therefore increase the effective thickness of the tank. So it twists and turns the shell as they travel through the space armor, and making them difficult to penetrate the armor underneath. So yeah, I highly recommend you buying the space armor Super Pershing first. Whereas for the T54 prototype, it's just a slab of 120 millimeters at the front. If you face vehicles with 220-ish millimeters of penetration, and if you angle it, they will probably go through the center. So that sucks. Now I put a gun rammer to increase the DPM, vertical stabilizer to help with the accuracy, and vents to increase the view range, because the view range is god awful. Now this is a premium tank, so you don't have to train a crew for it. Alright, special tanks, premium tanks, no crew needed. You can use any other crew of the same category of tanks from the same nation. So I put the T54's female crew in here, have the Sisterhood of Steel, have the Sixth Sense for the commander, recon, important recon for the view range buff, and camo, because this tank, like any other Russian medium tanks, have decent camouflage rating compared to the E50 or the Type 61. Yeah, a lot better camouflage rating. Deadeye for the gunner to knock out more tracks, destroy their engines, ammo rack, very important. Snapshot, increase the accuracy, and camouflage. Have off-road driving for the driver, smooth ride to shooting while moving, and clutch braking to help with the traverse. Safe stowage, situational awareness to help with the view range again, and camouflage for the loader. So therefore, with these crew skills, you could have 383 meters of view range, which is okay, but it's still not as good as the 408 from the same crew skills, or less crew skills, on the T44 I have. So, is this tank worth it? It's okay, but the main problem is the non-preferential matchmaking, the lack of shells, only 34 rounds, and the speed. You have the armor, but you still need the speed to make use of the armor and vibrate and wiggle. So I recommend you buying the Super Pershing first, but here is a good gameplay of this vehicle, my Mastery Badge, so enjoy. And here is the Mastery Badge gameplay of the T54 first prototype. Now it's a tier 8 game, so you're top tier. This tank is absolutely amazing if it's top tier. Now it's pretty much, yeah, not that good if it's bottom tier, but we're top tier, so it's good. Now a lot of players use this vehicle for clan wars and tournaments where the top tier list is tier 8, and this vehicle is pretty goddamn awesome. Has amazing armor for medium, and the penetration is decent for all tier 8s. But if you're facing tier 9s and tier 10s, it will be a little bit rough. So sad to say, but it's a decent premium tank. Now speed is okay, we're going down a hill, but it's not as fast as a T-44, so it's okay. Still a medium heavy tank hybrid, but this tank leans more to the medium side, whereas the Super Pershing leans more to the heavy side. It's still decent. Now, like all Russian tanks, it has only 5 degrees of gun depression, so you cannot really make use of the turret that much. Hull down is not that big as with American or British tanks, or even Japanese tanks. So this tank have to have unorthodox hull down positions. It's okay. I guess it's fine. Alright, we're playing this vehicle like a heavy-esque medium. I usually like this spot, but remember, they have 3 artilleries on their sides, so we have to stick to these walls. Otherwise, we get shot. And losing health is not that good. So, yeah. Here is a Dicker Max. You're a tier 6 tank destroyer without armor, with the least health for a tier 6 tank destroyer. You play as a heavy tank in a tier 8 matchup. Okay. So stick to walls. Now I am angled 45 degrees. I should be able to bounce 230-ish millimeters of penetration from the frontal plate. The lower plate is still a big weak spot, but they have to snapshot it quickly, otherwise I'll pull back and hide like a whack-a-mole. So just be a little bit patient. We have the team of tier 8 heavies camping here, so we're holding off the flank right now, so be patient. They're facing some tier 8 tank destroyers with armor. There's a sturdy mill. He has 15 degrees of gun depression, but he is still pretty huge, so we should be able to shoot him when he pops up. Now this tank is... oh! Try to detrack him. Missed. Okay, he's pointing this gun. I should be able to bounce. I think the VK... I thought the VK was blocking the sturdy mill's shot, but apparently I'm wrong. Now that shot hit dead center on a 45 degrees sloped frontal plate with 120 millimeters of armor. So it's basically 45 degrees from the hull and about, I think it was 60-ish or 40-ish degrees of sloping on the frontal upper plate. So it's still penetrated. The armor is not as strong, alright, as a Super Pershing. So I was a little bit overestimating the armor, but I noticed Sherman EZ8 flanking us. Try to detrack him. This vehicle is absolutely a bully against tier 6. No problem. No problem against tier 6, but with higher penetration guns like the sturdy mill, we do have a problem. So it lost like 40% health from that. Jesus. He has 230-ish millimeters of penetration, I believe. Now the gun depression is not that good, so you have to expose yourself a little bit more to get shots. We also noticed that most of the tier 8 heavy tanks died. So sucks. We have a VK lurking in the bottom of the hill. So let's finish him off, not to get flanked. And we're facing a 112 and a Yak Tiger 88. So that's a lot of armor against this low penetration gun. So let's not pull back and deal with the flank first. So this tank is still pretty decent in terms of speed. Alright. Now mind you that this tank has decent armor, but the speed and mobility means that it cannot go uphill that fast. And with the Yak Tiger 88 watching us, he has his superstructure of 250 millimeters, so this tank cannot penetrate a Yak Tiger effectively. So I'm trying to get spots for the tank destroyers up this hill of the Yak Tiger, as well as the Tiger 2 right here, and the camping KV5 right here. Don't know why these two tanks are camping, but whatever. So when you're playing medium tanks, know how to shift and know the battlefield situation. That's very important. know where your enemies are and where they're likely going to be. So we spotted the Tiger 2. Took a hit from a camping KV5. Herdy derpy derp. It's alright. Oh, another shot from the KV5. He missed. That's good. I don't know where the Yak Tiger 88 went. Now, there are 3 artilleries, so they know where I am. I'm using this hill to protect myself. And I'm not going to engage the Tiger 2 with 3 artilleries behind him. So that's a bad idea. Flank back. The 112 has made the way down the hill for some reason. He's spotting the tank destroyers and the KV5 is sniping. Surprisingly. But yeah. Take our time. I load APCR right now because I'm facing mostly heavy armored targets like a 112, KV5, Tiger 2, and Tiger 88. These tanks have usually a lot of armor, so at least averaging 200 millimeters ish. So I do need the APCR. So slowly does it. I have 6 cents, so no worries. I'm trying to take a look for the Yak Tiger. Did not see him. Here is the 112. Now, I spotted him before he spotted me because he has Russian tank camouflage rating. And the 112 doesn't have that good of a view range. Now, I disengage right now because I know he's looking at me. I know that he knows where I am, and I know that there might be somebody behind me, like a Yak Tiger or Tiger 2. So disengage, let your teammates with tank destroyers handle the 112. So don't be predictable. That's very important for medium tanks. Try to do the unexpected. Try to rope-a-dope. So they're working the 112 over. I'm trying to watch my flank for the Yak Tiger and Tiger 2. As you can see, here comes the Tiger 2. Now, still have to aim for weak spots. He missed. So 3 artillery. I'm trying to go down this hill. Trying to bait out the shots. So I'll make him think that I am going up this hill to flank him when I'm not. So he is looking where I'm supposed to be, but I'm not there. So rope-a-dope, alright? Tactics. Yeah, he got killed by T-25/2. What? The Yak Tiger was down the hill? What? Okay, the Yak Tiger flanked all the way around. And he's on the bottom side of the hill now. But when you're playing tank destroyers, here's a quick tip. Always take the high grounds, even if you have armor. Well, with any other tank, you still have to take the high ground. Alright, we took care of the Yak Tiger. Now, serpentine. Very important. Serpentine, 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 artillery. 3 of them. So they know I was on the hill, but I'm still pretty close to it. So they might snapshot artillery shell at me. So serpentine to throw off the shots. Now, here is another lesson. The KV5 is near our base. And normally, what you should do is head back and help out. But since I'm already here, and since there are 3 artilleries, might as well go kill the artilleries. And the Ramta Borsig should be able to handle a KV5. The Ramta Borsig has better view range, better camouflage rating, and we have 2 artilleries guarding that area as well. So, yeah, we don't have to worry about the KV5 for now. Now, even more advanced analysis is of XVM and player efficiency. If that KV5 was a Unicum, I probably will head back and try to kill him first. So, depend on player skills and their ratings. You also have to make decisions, but the KV5 is orange, so I'm not that worried. Spotted artillery, he shot. Alright, took care of him. I like how this T-25/2 try to kill the artilleries I'm shooting at. Alright. So remember, rope-a-dope. Make them believe that where you're going and go the other way. So try to predict where they're pointing their guns to. If I face any one of these artillery head on, I'll probably get derped and die. So they think I'm going up in the middle. I'm not. I'm going to the sides where he is.
Permission to engage.
Oh, no, okay. Do a little dance. Make a little love. Try to shoot him. He hit his gun. The T-35 slasher tried to kill my, or steal my kill. Oh, got another one. So do another merry-go-round. I load a high explosive round. Try to kill him in one hit. Hopefully. I cannot kill him in one hit with AP normally, so might as well use high explosive, right? Aim for the gun shield. Hit the freaking gun. Alright, try again. He panicked, and we got the kill. So it's simple enough. This tank is decent, but it's not fast. So try to flank as best as you could, but this is basically a heavy medium tank hybrid. And there you go, folks. The Mastery Badge gameplay of the T54 first prototype. Now, this vehicle is top tier, so this gameplay is rather easy. I did not break a sweat, but it will find itself having a lot of problems against tier 9s, especially tier 10s, because the penetration of the gun is severely lacking, and this vehicle is not that fast to go flanking. So that's a very big problem. Against tanks like the IS-7s, E100s, oh boy, the penetration will not save you. And even the gold shell will have problems with the side skirts on the E100 or even the IS-7. So it's still pretty rough. You have to rely on your teammates in those situations. But if you don't have to shoot gold shells, it could make a few more credits. And if it's top tier, yeah, it's a bully. So that's good. The downside is if you're bottom tier, it's going to be a rough time. So it's like a Japanese Tiger 1, but Japanese Tiger 1 is okay if it's top tier. If it's bottom tier, it gets trashed on. So, oh boy, the Japanese Tiger 1 has it rough. But this tank is still pretty decent. So I do recommend it for Clan Wars if it's tier 8 only, or tournaments if it's top tier of tier 8. So this tank is still pretty awesome if it's top tier. So if you want to have a tier 8 premium tank to make credits, this tank is probably not the best suit in my opinion, because you want to buy a tier 8 premium tank with high DPM or high penetration. So it was the Yak Tiger 88 that has a good crazy credit making capability, because that vehicle has very high DPM, whereas this vehicle doesn't have high DPM or high penetration, so that sucks. You can also buy the T-34, the American tier 8 heavy tank. That vehicle has 250-ish millimeters of penetration, even if it has low DPM. If you manage to hit tier 10s, tier 9s, you'll make a lot of credits with that vehicle because the penetration is so high, and the alpha is pretty decent for that vehicle. The more you punch tier 10s and tier 9s, the more credits you make while hiding your hull. So I believe the Yak Tiger 88 is a good pick. The T-34 is a good pick. Tanks like this vehicle, the T-54 Prototype, and the IS-6, if they are top tier, if you're fighting lower tier vehicles like tier 7s or tier 6 with normal AP shells, you should be good at making credits. But if you face heavy armored targets, yeah, the gold shell are pretty much needed against those tanks. So it's counterproductive using gold shell on a premium tank. So that sucks. And the IS-6 and the T-54 Prototype doesn't have that much shells. So you cannot spam the shells, unlike a Super Pershing. So yeah, I would recommend you buying a T-34 if you want to make a lot of credits, or a Super Pershing if you want to smash face, because the Super Pershing has preferential matchmaking, has a lot of shells, and the space frontal armor will bounce BL-10 shots, 286 millimeters of penetration. It has 10 degrees of gun depression, a lot more view range. Buy the Super Pershing first. You won't regret it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Now, it's sad to hear that France and Paris got attacked again. So let's have a moment of silence for the people who lost their lives and pray for their families. So my condolences. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.